in this series called Power. Everybody say power. If you would put up Judges chapter 6, verse 13. Judges chapter 6, verse 13. Everybody say power. We had an opportunity to go out and be with the homeless. I should say unhoused. Unhoused. Yesterday with the men's locker room, it was fantastic. I had some guests in town. I'll talk about some guests that stayed at the house for 2 days. I'll talk about them a little later on, but somebody say it's game time. Y'all ready for this? Yes. So the series is power. The series is power, and there was a young man who grew up during a time where they stopped seeing the power. And the church was never supposed to be powerless. We're supposed to have power. Somebody say power. You will know exactly what that means when we finish today. Everybody look up here. I don't want you distracted. I need ushers. I need y'all paying attention. I need y'all keep people from walking. Because if I was the devil, I would want to distract you so you won't know, number one, not only you have the ability, but you have the power. You have the power to change anything that's not happening that you want to see happen in your life. You have the ability to do what? To change it. So we're in power. Here's Gideon. This is a young man who God has called to do something mighty because God is ready to now change his community. He's ready to change your house. He's ready to change your attitude. He's ready to change your community. He's ready to change all of this white, black, all this foolishness. And he does it starting with the church. Somebody say the church. So we're in a series called Power. Today simply is, you'll remember it, simple day, title day, choice. It's your thing. You can do what you want to. Got it? You can keep that nasty attitude another day if you want to. But if you choose not to, I promise you, you will be able to change your attitude. If you want to be healthy, it's your thing. You can do what you want to. If you're getting older and people say, you know, when you get older, you're supposed to be breaking down and you're supposed to be barely getting along, you got a choice whether you're going to believe that foolishness. Everybody got it? Here's Gideon. And Gideon said unto him, O my Lord, if the Lord be with us, somebody say if. If the Lord be with us, why then is all this befallen us? Sometimes people make judgments about God and their lives based on how their lives are currently going. How your life is currently going has nothing to do with whether God has the ability to now bring his power in your situation and change the game. Look at your spouse right now and say, change the game. In other words, he has the power to now come in your midst and begin to change things. So Gideon said unto him, O my Lord, if the Lord be with us, why then is all this befallen on us? I got the same attitude Gideon got. If you with us, what's up? If you with us, why a teenager can't hold a course? If you're with us, why do I still need to live with a mountain of debt and money? If you're still with us. If you're still with us, why do I not experience healing? Why then is all this befallen us? And where be all his, somebody say miracles. Can't hear you. I can't hear you. Where be all his what? Miracles. That's a question. Where is all the stuff nobody can do but God? Come on, you want to get down with this? You want to look me in the face like this? You want to get gangster on me? I'm getting gangster on you. If we got to serve the living God, why are we mundane, same stuff over and over again? Huh? Unhappy, joyless marriage, single, struggling, broke, disgusted, playing a game. You should have way more customers. I saw y'all a little deal that John did. You should be flooding with customers. I don't care what the market says. You got to understand, our kingdom is over this market. You mess around, Matt, and you allow what's happening down here to get you to think that's how heaven works. The prayer is, as it is in heaven, so be in earth. The prayer is not be on earth as it is in heaven. You start with heaven. Whatever is bound in heaven, you bound on earth. Whatever is loosed in heaven, you loose on earth. You trying to bind stuff that God doesn't, you trying to loose something that God has bound. You're going to be frustrated. There's rarely a time that I don't go pray for somebody and don't know whether they're going to die or not. He'll tell me. So I can intelligently pray for people. Because the end is not death, baby. The truth is, have you ever lived? Everybody got that? So Gideon, he's doing a time where he knew about the miracles, and they sitting around telling fairy tales. The parents sitting around talking to the young people. Ooh, look what God did when we came out of Egypt. Ooh, woo. God turned water to blood. He killed the destroyer. He killed all the firstborn. Ooh, woo. And this man, just like me, some of y'all don't mind living in yesterday. Like, you good. Like, we've turned the Bible into a history book. There's not even an expectation for the stuff that Jesus said, greater things will you do. And if you're getting this lukewarm Christianity, you won't expect much. And please don't insult God by thinking you doing something because you got a Rolls Royce. How silly can we be? You got a house. Our fathers, that's his job, take care of you. Why are you talking about the benefits and not the person? The benefits come if you get the job. So in this power, God will do stuff you can't do. You need to have a baby, Hannah. You need to have a baby, Sarah. But y'all old. You got to understand, God is not a God of this world. He's a God that created this world. So whatever he says, it's going to happen if you believe him. You got to receive what I just said, Pastor Sim. You should have customers coming out the wazoo. Now, all he has to do is believe what I'm telling him. Because I didn't wake up to tell him this. It's in real time. I pastor and preach and teach in real time. When I tell you something, you got to receive it with the words of your mouth. You sitting here like this is a posture of closed off. And when you like this, God like this back. Why are you running around scared? God makes statements like, I wish you would. Y'all think God running around heaven scared? One angel killed 150,000 people. How many? And you got a bunch of them around you. Did you know your angels, their responsibility is to serve you as you follow in Christ. Not to serve you while you're doing your own thing. Angels don't listen to you. They listen to you in alignment with the word. Amen. They ain't running off because you got some fantasy. It don't work their way. As soon as you and I align, I'm talking about power, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. It's two different types of power, shot. In the scriptures, I'm just covering two types. There are many types, but there are two in particular that a believer must understand and must know. You must understand that you can have the ability. Everybody got it? But not the power. And let me tell you an old sports term. Availability trumps ability. I'm dropping dimes in here. Availability trumps ability. What are you talking about? A lot of guys real good in the NFL, but they stay injured. Oh, they got tremendous ability, but they in the training room every day. In other words, they're not available even though they got the ability. So what coaches learn? I would rather a person who's what? Available. That's all God needs, an available person. You got some people got all these gifts, all this ability, but they don't make themselves available. That's why somebody could be real good who don't have as much ability as you. Yes. But because you won't make yourself available, then you're going to be frustrated with your ability. And I guarantee right now, y'all know how I know I'm preaching and teaching in real time? Some of y'all stuck and frustrated right now. Because you know you got some ability. Got it? Like ladies, y'all got some ladies, you got a lot of you got some ability. I mean, it's all looking good. You got the nice job, you look good and all of that. You got the ability. But why hasn't the Lord made a man available to you? It's getting quiet up in here, Pastor Sim. Availability comes when you've decided to give whatever gifts you have, whatever abilities you have, to the authority under Jesus Christ. Y'all hear what I said? Y'all got it? When you give whatever, the dangerous thing is pride causes people with ability to think they can just run the show. You have to submit your ability, Lucifer, to God's authority. Otherwise, we got a button we press and you leave heaven. There was no one had more ability than Satan, whose name before was Lucifer. But he decided to get enamored with his ability, not understanding your ability was created for God's availability. Oh boy. Woo. Woo, woo. So two types. Put up the two types of power. Here we go. Two types of power. People make this mistake all the time. You can have the ability. Why sometimes people are not available? A lot of times because they're lazy. And sometimes you just don't want to do what the Lord told you. So the Lord told me to give y'all a story so you'll never forget this. Because some of you are shortchanging yourself. You should be so much further along. This has nothing to do with age. If you would just give yourself and make yourself available to God, you'd be surprised even if he gives you one talent, but you make yourself available with your one talent, you will be surprised what God will do in and through you. And let me get rid of this, I'm doing something for God. God don't need you doing nothing for him. It's a partnership. He's working through you. So it's a partnership. We're co-laborers. Get that word. Co-laborers. He can do nothing in the earth except from a human body. So just as God needs a co-laborer, so does Satan. Because he can't do anything without a body. And if you are born again, set apart, you got to let Satan know you are no longer legal in my person. Oh, I ain't like the way you look just now. You know what that means? That means sickness and disease, that's an intruder. So why are you calling it my arthritis? You need to tell arthritis, you got to go. And then mean it. Some of y'all don't mean it because you don't know who you are. I'm getting ready to tell you who you are. Exousia, this is the first one. Exousia. Everybody say exousia. This is when he gives you the right to become a child of God. As many as believed him, to them he gave the right or the privilege to be children of God. Amen. And most people stop there. Most people stop there. I'm a child of God, but you're broke. And when I say broke, I'm talking about broke emotionally. Get all this money stuff every time we talk about that broke. He said he's come to heal the brokenhearted. My heart has been broken, but I'm a living witness to tell you he's healed it. See, in this world, you get broken. Stuff happens in this world. God already knows, so why are we pretending? He already knows you broke. That's why he came to fix you. He already knows you're sick. That's why he's called the great physician. There is a balm in Gilead. In other words, the power to heal is right here if you want it. Somebody look at somebody and say, if you want it. Now, you think everybody wants it. If I go talk to the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've been losing a little bit. If I go talk to their team and I say, how many of y'all want to win a Super Bowl? Every one of them jokers is going to get up and say, we want to win. But the truth and the rubber meets the road when you're willing to do what it takes to win. Oh, everybody wants to win. Jesus saw the guy been paralyzed on a mat for 38 years by the pool. And all these people, an angel would come stir the water. And whoever got in first, all these sick people would be dumped there. All these sick people, kind of like the lottery. How many of y'all bought something last time? Yeah. That $1 billion came up, all y'all start buying them tickets, right? Some people think God is like the lottery. And that's what was happening. All these sick folk, Cheyenne, it was a pool. And they put all these sick folk because an angel will come stir the water, and whoever got in first after the water was stirred would get healed. Can you imagine that? All these sick folk? They just dropping you off. Number one is maybe your family members who tired of carrying you around. They dump you off at the pool. We can't help you. We're the server. You wearing us out. You need to get healed. Go. And they put that guy been in that condition 38 years. And then the Lord walks up. The person with the exousia and the dunamis. Oh, Jesus. Did you hear what I said? The one who has the right and the one who got the power. Paul said, I'm coming, 1 Corinthians 4:4. I'm coming to see all those that's puffed up because they look like they can teach well. He said, but I ain't coming for the word. I'm coming to see if you got power. They got people teach all the time, but no power. They got people teach all the time, but what? No power. Power comes as a result. Once I become a child of God, now I got to submit whatever he's given me to his authority. You got to submit it. Or you can be on the team doing what you want to do. Let me give you some practical examples. God send you to a church. You're not here to sit down and listen to stuff every week. One of the worst things is a fat Christian. I'm talking about spiritually. Because people that got a whole lot of knowledge, he tells the byproduct of knowledge with no activation is pride. So you get these cats learn something, and then they don't live it out at all. They don't expect anything at all. All they want to do when they have religious talk, be able to talk. Oh yeah, this is what God said. God told Eli to build that boat. Jokers don't know nothing. It's Noah, and they talking about Eli. And the other joker talking don't know nothing either. He said, oh man, Eli built that boat, huh? Yeah. Here's another thing. Ignorant Christian is dangerous. Jesus told these religious jokers, Kyle, how can the blind lead the blind? That's right. He didn't say the blind couldn't lead them. That's right. It was a rhetorical statement. Yeah. They didn't recognize and acknowledge him, and they wouldn't submit to him as king. Right. So these religious jokers, they building up followers that don't know God. They just know religion. They just know, man, make it look like. Make sure when they tell you to pray, you make sure you pray. Sometimes I want to tell people, stop praying, just be quiet. Because he says, you don't get your prayers answered because you're speaking a lot of words. That's right. That's right. Matter of fact, Solomon said, when you come before God in this ancient word, let your words be few. That's right. Some of y'all will go see a president, you was definitely, I would hope, not running off at the mouth. They give you a few minutes with the president because the president probably busy. So they don't have time to tell you, listen to your long story. This man is at the pool, and it's interesting. The title there's choice. Somebody say choice. It is interesting when Jesus goes, he goes directly to that man. And he asked that man, he asked him, because God has given every human being the dignity of choice. You get to choose whether you're going to obey this word and operate it in your life, or you just going to let this be another message that you done heard and you done wrote notes, but you've not seen the power work in your life. It was never, that's what Gideon is saying. Where are the miracles? That's what he was asking. Where are the miracles? Jesus go right up to that man. It's an interesting question he asked. Do you want to be whole? Now you would think, why would Jesus ask this man? He'd been in this condition 38 years. By the way, the number 3 is divine and number 8 is new. So 38 years, now it's time for something divinely new to happen to you. So Jesus asked him, do you want to be healed? And I wonder, how about you? Come on, let's put ourselves in that man's position. I would wonder, he like, okay, we in church, so I'm gonna do it like him. Because you got to think, you got to feel it. I need y'all to start feeling people. If you don't feel what people feeling, then you just a religious person. You got to be able to understand. And for all people that teach the word of God, always remember this. Your goal is not to impress people. Your goal is not for people to pat you on the back. What stymied most people, they're so concerned about themselves. When I'm standing here teaching, I've already been with the Lord. I've already been spending time with him. So when I stand up here in prayer in the word of God, I'm prepared. And my sole focus is you. To bring value to you. To let you know not only you got the right and the privilege to be a child of God, but you got some power available to you. If that's what I'm talking about right now, I'm talking about the power. Do you want to be healed? Why would he ask him that question? I want you to think about that. I would think, and I'm not all that in a bag of chips, but I do think 38 years, and they stir that water. I don't know about you, but if this the pool, 38 years, I'm going to get something on the edge, something like this. I mean, I don't care what, hey, I don't care. One stirring, I'm 38 years? 38 years? You've been dealing with this issue for 5 years? I was at McDonald's and the lady who worked back there, her name is Tracy. I say, Tracy, how you doing? She said, I'm dealing with issues. Here's my question. How long are you going to deal with issues? And if you just keep letting it linger and dealing with issues, eventually it ceases to be issues. It becomes it's you. It's you. It's you. How long you been in that condition? 38 years. Hell, I'm getting ready to use his terms, all right? So forgive me for what I'm getting ready to say. Man, hell, I'm getting healed. I don't care what the hell going on here, man. Man, what? So, of course, Jesus comes up because he cannot violate his will. He can't violate his will. It's called the dignity of choice. Do you want to? Do you want to? What Jesus said, if I was in your condition, I'd be healed. That's really what he's saying. Because the dignity of choice. Do you want this to go? Or have you made what you're dealing with your alibi? Your excuse. How long you going to blame your daddy? I mean, at least there should be a cutoff. You shouldn't be able to blame your daddy once you get to age 40. I mean, come on. I mean, how long you going to blame you? I'm talking about the kids. How long you going to blame your parents? And he says, whosoever will. It's up to you. And we are masters at alibis. We are masters. Martha said to Jesus after her brother died, she ran to Jesus. She said, if you had been here, My brother would have not died. Jesus tell her, honey, I am the resurrection. I am the life. When I get here in my Father's timing, Lazarus is going to be raised. So Jesus is always at haste, but never in a hurry, baby. Put that in the chat. 11 o'clock, this group won't even smile in my face, man. Exousia, it is the right or the privilege. Go to John chapter 1, verse 12, please. John chapter 1, verse 12. To as many, but as many as what? Received him, Jesus, to them gave he the power to become the what? Sons of God, even to them that what? Believe on his name. That word power is the word exousia. That means to anybody that received him, he gave them the right and the privilege to be a child of God. Somebody come ask you, what you mean you're a child of God? Hey, I believed on Jesus Christ. And he said he gave me authority to be a power. He gave me authority. He gave me the right to be a son. I'm now a son. And if I'm a son, I'm an heir. Got it? So now we got many that know, okay, I'm in the kingdom. I'm a son. But where's the power? That's what Gideon was saying. The power is only displayed. It's a miraculous power. Think about the power of might. If you know the story of Samson, he was a man that had unusual strength. And he has a Nazarene vow. But the point was, the power wasn't in his hair. He was a man that had hair. That his Nazarene vow was, don't cut your hair. Got it? That was an obedience thing. It's kind of like, of all the trees of the garden, you can freely eat. All right? If you eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you're going to die. Got it? Samson, don't cut your hair. That's your obedience step. That's what declares whether you Lord. Even though you got this power, I'll give you certain directives to prove in your life, am I your Lord? So there's certain things that God is going to test you to see if he's your Lord. So he did it this weekend with me. And I'll tell you about it in a second, and then I'll close with it. Because it's going to get the attention of young people and our elders. So when Samson has this power, he has unusual might. And an interesting thing, you couldn't look at Samson and find out where that power came from. He had the ability, unusual strength, kind of like a Superman. But you couldn't see it because he was just a regular guy. Just like all of you. The same power. It was on him. Is now in you. So what are you talking about? I can't pass an ACT exam. Because the power is just not a force, it's also infinite intelligence. The ability for Noah to build an ark without going to ark school. The ability for Moses to build a tabernacle without not ever going to architecture school. The ability to name animals and never go to animal naming school, Adam. Sometimes in this Western culture, if you're not careful, it will reduce you to what's possible for man instead of what's impossible with God. Because this climate will get you. Well, you know, doctor, and now you put more faith in the doctor than you do in a great physician. Then you put more faith in, now what they talking about now? Inflation. Man, inflation. Hey, man, this is inflation. There's no inflation in heaven. You need to honor God with the tithe. Why? The tithe is a tangible way you really know that you're in another kingdom. And all a tithe is a tribute to a king. And because you're in a kingdom, he says, if you honor me with the tithe, I'm going to rebuke the devourer for your sake. I don't care how many pastors and anybody jacked it up. I don't care how many revelations the new pastor get. None of that matters. God is the Ancient of Days. That means he has been around before we got here, and he's going to be here after we go. And his principles are the same. The law of aerodynamics was here in the garden. Adam, if he had known, had the material, he could have flown a plane in the Garden of Eden. God is not creating anything new. You don't come worship God and then God just comes from somewhere. When you worship God and sincere, when you repent and sincere, he's activated. Mean he's everywhere. David said, if I make my bed in hell, you're there. He's everywhere, but not everybody experiences his presence. Sometimes I want to look at y'all like I did with them receivers on the field. Like, come on, what you got, Michael Irvin? Where you at, boy? What you got? That's my New Orleans talk. You got it? I finished worshiping, and all of a sudden, Randy Moss, 6'5", 6'4", 220, all of a sudden, he's not a giant. Because I've seen him now, and next to the person I magnified in worship that morning. So all of a sudden, fear dissipates because the spirit of power is on the inside of you. Come on. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. Shy, I'm rolling in here. How I'm doing? I'm doing good. Thank you, Shy. Appreciate it. Trying to get an amen from the group in the back. All right. 2 Timothy 1:7. Come on, let's do it. Let's roll. There we go. For God has not given us the spirit of fear. They got too many scaredy cat Christians in here. Just scaredy cats. Scaredy cats. Talk big noise in the church. Big noise in the church. I mean, just this. You think they call down heaven? Get out there, man. A little demon about that big. Say boo, and they run it. Well, we getting all of that out of you. You got it? I say we're getting all of that out of you. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love. Sound mind. Talking about that power. But it's a choice. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is God's spirit giving you the ability to move forward and to press forward in spite of the presence of fear. For all of you all are praying and then hoping, I just get this mask power. Like I feel like it now. I ain't afraid now. No. You pray and then you go. And as you go, the power of God begins to show. He'll show when you go. Some of you all trying to get power while you still there praying. You pray and then go. And as you go, he will show. And take that in any situation in your life. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but the spirit of what? Power and of what? Love and of what? So when the enemy is trying to attack you mentally, you need to quote this scripture. All this mental anguish and all of these things we're dealing with, mental health is the number one challenge in this country. A believer first must begin to quote the word, put the word on it. And the word says, for God has not given me the spirit of fear, but he's given me but of power, the spirit of power and of love and of what? Sound mind. Go back to the definition. Now let's go to dunamis. Dunamis is the force. Dunamis is the force that works super miraculous miracles. Everybody got it? Dunamis. There it is. That's the second one. It makes you able to do it. It makes you able to do the impossible. It's possible. Sarah, you're getting old. Your man, Abraham, old. But it's still possible for you to have a baby because God said you're going to have one. So now your faith is not in your sagging breast. Your faith is not when you look at Abraham and said, I don't know if he still got it. Those are people walking by sight. What she's supposed to say when she see Abraham and it don't look too good, she's supposed to be quoting the word. A baby coming out of us, she need to be looking in the mirror. Hey, a baby coming out of us. He didn't ask you to tell you how it's going to happen. He's telling you, if I tell you, God watches his word. Think about God. He says something like, you're going to have a baby about this time next year. He's watching his word like angels watching the word. Well, you know what I mean when I say watching the word? Meaning he going to get in there, get them together, and cause the equipment to work. Y'all got it? I know y'all don't understand that because y'all ain't God. God gets in there, he'll make the pipe work. Some of you brothers All you got to do is go to God, taking all this medicine and all that kind of stuff. Go to the Most High God. And somebody look at somebody and say, I want power. Joshua 24:15 and we out. 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 And if it seems evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you to this day whom you going to serve. Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorite in whose house you dwell. But as for me, you can go back and forth if you want to, but I'm telling you, you don't have to. But as for me, in my house, we going to do what? Yeah. You got people, man, all right, I don't want you to go back and forth, but I'm telling you, that's for me and my house. Sometimes you need to tell your children that. That's for me and my house. Now, when you get your own house, right? You get your own house. I think I've heard it said, 2 women don't belong in the same kitchen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pastor, what you mean? This for the young ladies. Meaning, if you got all of that and you smelling yourself, time for you to get your own place. It's time for you to do some adulting. Because nothing works better than life to humble you. Did y'all hear what I said? So it's a choice. So I had a professional cornerback reach out to me. It's still a lot of people, I'm closing out with availability. Why people don't avail themselves, even though God has set you apart, even though he's given you the ability, but you haven't submitted. It's called authority that you're submitted under. And the dudamus, the force to have a baby, Sarah, dudamus, the force to get on a young man named Gideon and help him win. There's a power through God's Spirit where he helps you do the miraculous. Meaning if you got sex addiction, he has the power to take it off of you. Anything that you're dealing with, it could be eating habits. If you will submit and get to doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like in this church body, everybody is supposed to be doing something. You are not supposed to be continually sitting down just listening. This won't work until you start doing it. The power is activated upon doing it. Well, Pastor, I don't know what to do. Get to doing something. You were created to serve. When you put on a human body, this is called a servant's body. And you're to serve. And you're to serve when all hell breaking loose. Because when you start serving and getting your purpose and being intentional, of course he's going to try to get you distracted to some minor light afflictions. And get you looking at it and say, well, if this was God, this wouldn't be happening. That's a lie. It's not a utopia. This is, I'm going to follow you come hell or high water. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm going to keep following you even sometime when you're dragging me. Heard Joyce Meyer say this. I've been walking with God this long, and the Lord told her, so no, Joyce, no, you were walking. The first, I don't know how many years, but the first 10 years, I was dragging you. Yeah. Then you finally got a hold and submitted yourself. And that's what he's looking for, your heart. Submit yourself. I encourage people to get involved in life groups. Well, I don't have time. So I get a call to the office from a cornerback that plays with a professional NFL team. And they want to come during this week. And I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, should I have him come? He just told me yes. How many of y'all know, man, we had a lot going on this week? A lot. And that's why people forfeit availability to God. Because you focusing on all your little Mickey Mouse stuff. When he says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things are going to be added. Don't chase the bag. Chase the boss. So, I start thinking about, even though I got the word on it, I still was thinking, man, I got this life group, Pastor T, they got Wonder Women, now I got to teach, I got Wednesday Bible study, then we got locker room. As soon as you start assessing all of this stuff, you will talk yourself out of obeying God. Then I sent him a text. Why am I telling y'all this? Because I'm human just like you. When he said yes to me, it wasn't like I said, all right, come on, let's go. Yes. I text him back and say, maybe we should do it in the off season. And then I start making little excuses because I don't want to tell you something that gets you thinking in the season. Don't that sound so good? Some of us build cases to disobey God. And then I'm sending this to him. He's only been in the league 3 years. He found out about me. He said, we had to meet one of the best corners that ever played in the league that very few people know about. And he said he saw my football life. And he said, I could have called anybody, but I needed to not only call a great cornerback, I need to call a man that was connected with God. This is a 25-year-old who got born again his junior year in college. So the whole time, so now I send him a text hoping, all right, yeah, Pastor Aeneas, we'll come during off season. He said, well, we already booked the flight. He already booked the flight. I said, all right. So I think I sent another text hoping that you can get a reimbursement, right? Following the Lord is not always convenient for you. Here's what I learned. If I will make the Lord's responsibilities he gives me a priority, he's assured me, and I've experienced it, he'll take care of all that stuff I think is important. So literally took him to the facilities. He and his trainer, they were coming. It was amazing. Pastor T and Shai and Tirza, they were up talking for like 2 hours. I just went in and went to sleep. But I had a great time. And I want to show you guys a visual. When it was nothing but a God connection. The trainer had grew up in Crenshaw Christian Center. Good friends with young Fred, Pastor Fred. It was inconvenience. Yesterday, I was out at a practice facility. We just call the guy and say, hey, can we come? And a lot of times they charge you for this. When you're doing what God tell you to do, if it's God's will, it's his bill.
Yes, it is. That's right. Yes, it is.
So when they left, we hugged. We went to dinner, had a great time. Amazing time. So we left. Dropped them off at the airport this morning, about 5-something this morning. Him and the trainer. He gave me this, he said, this is just a token of our appreciation. And by the way, I didn't ask for anything. This wasn't no hire deal. And nothing wrong with hire. In other words, I charge the fee if y'all come. Somebody did it to me and didn't charge me. But Pastor T and I blessed them. Stop doing everything you do for money. I'm telling you, you do all that for money and God got 10 times that amount for you. Sometimes it's called sweat equity. So they gave me this card. With all this in it. Pastor Aeneas, we can't thank you enough for this weekend. It was one that we will never forget. Thank you for allowing us to stay in your beautiful home. Words can't ever put into or give justice to how grateful we are to have been able to spend time with you and your family and understand what it looks like to dominate in every area of life. The wisdom that was shared with us this weekend has both been timeless and priceless. We hope that you would accept this offering of ours to you. We hope this blesses you. Your generosity means more than it's possible to say and is truly appreciated. Did I feel like doing this? Too many are forfeiting what God has for you because you want God to get on your schedule. And all I thought about when they were here is how praying that I can add value to them. Every time I stand up here, I want to know how I can add value to you. It's not about me. I've experienced the power. We have experienced the power. We are experiencing the power. And we will continue to experience the power. Not by might, not by power, but by God's Spirit. And what he means is, in that context, not by might, not by you doing it, not by your Mickey Mouse power, by his Spirit that brings God's power, which is like dynamite, where the word dunamis, the word dynamite is derived from. In other words, when God's force gets involved, pay off college tuition before the government give you a few dollars off. The power. Somebody say power. But at the end of the day, it's a choice. So I got one key thing, 3 things I want you to remember. Got 3 things. Put it up there, please. Number 1. Can't hear you. 1, 2, 3. All right, I got second point. Put the second point up. Okay, I got one more. It's your choice. I could have said no to this. I could have said, no, we're going to do it in off season. It's not about this. This is a byproduct. If I pour water on you, you're going to be wet. So wet comes with the water. Don't chase the wet. Chase the purpose. And God will take care of the rest. Come on, let's give God praise in this place.